The browser cannot play this video. Does it usually do that?
Mm-mm.
Try refreshing the iPad.
The iPad.
Just pull down.
Goodness. There.
There. You're live.
Okay. Close this.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you're live.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I apologize. We're having some technical difficulties. So let's see. Jerry,
I wouldn't have your job.
who are we missing? 1, 2,
Just Marvin.
3, 4, 5. No. Marvin's right here.
Right here.
I don't have a picture of this. Oh, there he is. Hey.
There I am.
There you are. All right, I apologize again. It is now 6:43, so take it away, Chairperson.
Good evening. I would like to call to order the City of San Fernando Planning and Preservation Committee meeting, regular scheduled meeting for March 8th, 2021. Michelle, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. So this is the roll call for the regular Planning and Preservation Commission meeting of March 8th, 2021. Chairperson Alvin Durham,
Here.
Vice Chair Marvin Perez,
Listen.
Commissioner Ivan Gonzalez,
Here.
Commissioner Aida Montes,
Here.
and Commissioner Hector Pacheco.
Present.
Let the record reflect all members are present. In addition to our Planning and Preservation Commissioners, we do have City Attorney Blanca Pacheco. Good evening, Ms. Pacheco.
Cool. If all would you please rise
Evening.
and we'll have the pledge of allegiance.
All right.
We're ready to begin. I pledge
I pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the
flag
flag of the United States of America
America.
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it
For
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
And
under
under
God,
God.
indivisible,
So,
with liberty and justice for all.
At this point, I would take a motion to approve the agenda.
I second it.
So Commissioner Pacheco, you
Oh,
moved to approve it. Do I have a
move to
second?
approve it.
I'll second.
I have a second.
Gonzalez? Is there any opposition?
No.
None?
Then I would show the agenda as approved.
Okay, so with this new setup, I have to go ahead and read for the record the decorum and order.
Mhm.
So city commissioners are appointed by the city council and must be free to discuss issues confronting the city in an orderly environment. Public members attending city commission meetings shall observe the same rules of order and decorum applicable to the city council, San Fernando Procedural Manual. Any person making impertinent, derogatory, or slanderous remarks, or who have become boisterous while addressing the city commission or while attending a city commission meeting may be removed from the room if the presiding officer so directs the sergeant at arms, and such person may be barred from further audience before the city commission. The next item is the public statements. Members of the public may submit comments by email to mdesantiago@sfcity.org no later than 5 p.m. the day of the meeting. To ensure distribution to the Planning and Preservation Commission prior to consideration of the agenda, comments received via email will be distributed to the Planning and Preservation Commission, read into the record, limited to 3 minutes, and made part of the official public record of the meeting. Callers interested in providing a live public comment may call in between 6:30 and 6:45 and will be limited to 3 minutes. The call-in period may be extended by the chair. The call-in telephone number is 669-900-6833. The meeting ID is 896-2370-9376, and the passcode is 194996. And as of 6:47 p.m., I have not received any emails for comments to be entered into record.
Thank you. At this point, I would accept the motion to approve the consent calendar or any changes that need to be made.
All right.
I second.
Was that a first? Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes, that was the first. Why not? Sorry.
And Commissioner Montes, you second?
Yes.
And is there any opposition? The motion carries.
And at this point, I would turn we need to approve the minutes as a part of the consent calendar, so that I know that I learned last time. At this point, it's time for public hearings. There were none. And I think it's time then for Tim to make the presentation for the evening.
Thank you, Chair Durham and Commissioners. The item before you for this public hearing is regarding a recommendation from the Planning Commission to the City Council for approval of the adoption of an ordinance. This would be regarding floodplain management regulations and acceptance of FEMA's flood insurance study dated June 2nd, 2021. Happy to introduce Matt Baumgartner, the city's Director of Public Works, who will be providing the staff presentation. Matt?
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to meet anybody on the commission yet. I started with the city back in June of last year, so it's a pleasure to meet all of you today. And I am gonna share my, Tim or Michelle, can I'm disabled from sharing my screen right now.
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can everybody see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So yes, I'm just going to give you a very brief presentation on the recent flood insurance study that was conducted by FEMA. And I'll start with a little bit of background. The National Flood Insurance Program was enacted by Congress in 1968, and it's managed by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. It essentially provides flood insurance for a little more than 5 million citizens in the United States that reside in 100-year flood zones. And altogether, there's about $1.3 trillion in coverage that are provided through these insurance policies. Approximately 23,000 communities in the US participate. And in order to participate, communities must have a floodplain management ordinance, as well as accept the flood insurance studies that FEMA periodically updates. The flood insurance study is essentially a very detailed analysis that supports, all of the data supports the program, and it provides base flood elevation data for each community that's studied. And so this is essentially the elevation of the 100-year flood. So a 100-year flood is caused by a storm that has a 1% chance of occurring in any given year. And so any zones that are within a 100-year flood area are known as special flood hazard areas. And these special flood hazard areas are shown on the maps that FEMA presents in their flood insurance study. And as I was stating, there's no real rhyme or reason to how often they update these studies, but there is a new one that's being conducted, and will be finalized in June of this year. The last time the city adopted a flood insurance study by FEMA was in 2006. And so I just wanted to give you some visuals to kind of understand the basics of what they're looking at in the study. So if you look at along the top here, if you can follow the hand here on my cursor, this represents the 100-year floodplain. And this elevation right here is known as the base flood elevation. And so again, this is the 100-year flood elevation. The floodway is the area that there can't be any man-made structures within this area. So the flood has to be able to flow through this area here without any man-made obstructions. And then the flood fringe represents the areas where you were allowed to construct within a 100-year floodplain. So FEMA requires that all foundation elevations must be at least 1 to 2 feet above this 100-year flood elevation. So you're going to find your man-made structures within the flood fringe. And down here, I'm showing the zones that are within the 100-year flood area. Everything from zone A through zone VE represents the 100-year flood zone. And everything from D through B is areas outside of that. And I'm going to focus your attention on what's called zone X, unshaded. And this is essentially a 500-year floodplain. So I'll explain very soon why I'm focusing on that particular zone X. So this is as I was telling you before, the flood insurance rate maps. This is the one for the city of San Fernando. And you can see our city boundaries here highlighted in yellow. This whole area is unshaded zone X. So essentially the entire city lies within this zone, which is well outside of the 100-year floodplain. It's actually considered a 500-year floodplain. So it would take a flood that would statistically occur once every 500 years to reach flood elevations and cause issues in the city. So this is defined as an area of minimal risk. There's none of these special flood hazard areas. There's no 100-year flood zones. And as I was saying, there's this is considered a 500-year storm, or a 0.2% chance that an annual storm will reach flood elevation. So what they consider to be highly unlikely. And this remains consistent with past studies. So we've been in zone X, we're still in zone X. And this is what the new study shows. And then I'll finally just end with our next steps here. FEMA will be finalizing their flood insurance study in June, and they're asking all communities that participate in the National Flood Insurance Program to accept their findings, modify their existing floodplain management ordinance to reflect the update, and in our case, adding language to the ordinance that requires us to notify FEMA of any changes to our city boundaries. So in the off chance that the city would annex properties and expand our boundaries, we would need to let FEMA know so they can just reevaluate and make sure that we don't fall into any 100-year flood zone areas. And so you might be asking, why do we participate in this program if there's such an unlikely chance of us being subject to flood damage? And essentially in our conversations with FEMA, if we don't keep this up to date and we don't adopt their findings, essentially in the rare occurrence of a flood occurring in city of San Fernando, it could have some impact on how quickly FEMA responds if there's a flood hazard, disaster, emergency, national disaster, or state, county disaster declared. And FEMA would not, it would give them, there'd be some significant barriers to them being able to provide assistance to us. So essentially that's why we continue to participate and adopt their findings. So essentially staff is recommending that the Planning and Preservation Commission adopt resolution 2021-001. And this resolution recommends that the commission would adopt this resolution recommending that the City Council adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 26, Article 5, which is our floodplain management ordinance, to adopt the regulations, modified regulations, and an updated flood insurance study from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And then after that, should the Planning and Preservation Commission adopt this resolution, our next steps would be returning to City Council, and they would be adopting an ordinance that would take care of modifying our floodplain ordinance and accepting the new study by FEMA. And so since FEMA is finalizing their study in June of 2021, they're asking all of their communities that participate to go through the same process that we're going through tonight. We're kind of trying to make sure we check all of our boxes off and get everything submitted to them in time. So with that, I'm very happy to answer any questions for you. And Tim, would you like me to stop sharing so everybody can see each other?
That would probably be a good idea. There you
Sure.
go.
There you go.
All right, guys, any questions?
Yeah, no questions from me. I think this is a straightforward explanation.
I think it's pretty simple. Yeah. It's much easier than stupid SP5 that we just finished working 3 years on. Lee.
Chair Durham, just as a matter of protocol, you may want to go commissioner by commissioner to
Ask for that
gauge
comment.
whether they have any questions or comments at this time.
Sure. Michelle, can we do like a roll type thing? Just ask one at a time.
Sure,
I could probably remember their names, but I don't.
sure, not a problem. Vice Chair Perez, do you have any questions?
No questions from me. As I stated, it's a
right.
straightforward process.
Commissioner Montes, do you have any questions?
Oh, it's pretty clear. No, I have no questions.
Okay. Commissioner Gonzalez, do you have any questions?
No questions. So that was pretty straightforward as well.
And Commissioner Pacheco, do you have any
I
questions?
can't think of any at the moment. None whatsoever. Thank you.
All right. So seeing none, no questions?
Well, it would appear that we don't have any questions for Matt at this time. Any other comments that need to be made before we move on?
None for me.
That's a rhetorical. I'm sorry. No? Okay. Well then, Tim, do we have any other comments we need to include? And Matt, we will all see you, and you'll probably get tired of seeing us.
Nice to meet everybody. Thank you.
Twice. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, do we, at this point, are we prepared to make a staff recommendation? Does anyone like to make a motion?
Staff would recommend opening the public hearing.
Oh, yeah. Has there been any other calls in, Michelle, yet?
No, and Julie reported that as of 6:49, there were no public comments, no one waiting, and there's no emails.
At that point, then, I would say that we close the public hearings and get on with the other discussion of the commission.
As a matter of process, I would recommend having a motion to close the public hearing.
Come on, guys.
I'll motion to close the public hearing.
There you go. Any
I
second?
second that.
All right, Marvin second, all right. Do we want to do a roll call on this, Michelle, just to be sure?
Just, I guess if there's any oppositions,
Yeah, right.
no oppositions?
I don't.
No,
Okay. Seeing no opposition, the motion carries to close the public hearing? Or the public comment of the hearing?
From the comments, okay, Tim, are we at the point where we can start any kind of discussion amongst the commission themselves?
That is correct.
Okay, so then general commission comments on what we're doing, and when we feel that we've gotten all it out, then we can go on with staff recommendation or the commission recommendation. I think it's pretty straightforward, and I like things that are straightforward and easy. I don't like subframe, you know. Did you really mean yes, or were you saying yes because you meant no? I'm not a good politician, obviously. Okay, since we don't seem to have any comments, then let's, would someone like to make a motion for our acceptance and or not? I would think it'd be certainly to accept it, not be. Oh, whole brain dead, bro.
I'm having a little difficulty with your audio,
From me,
Mr. Durham. Yes,
am I too low? I can turn it up, I think.
maybe it's too high. I'm getting like feedback.
You getting a lot of feedback?
Yeah,
Is it better like that?
there you go.
Okay, so I just cut me down some, that's fine. So does anyone like to make a motion?
And I'll just make a quick note for the commissioners. You do have your motion sheet in your packet, which will help guide you with the language for any recommended action you
This one's critical.
take at this time.
Where might I find that?
That will be the page immediately preceding the agenda report. So that'll really be the
The
first
fourth
page.
page, Commissioner Pacheco.
Yes, it looks like that.
And I, right?
I'll make the motion.
Item 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to approve the Planning and Preservation Commission Resolution number 2021001, right?
Right.
Recommending the City Council adoption of ordinance number 1701, which amends the San Fernando Municipal Code, Chapter 26, Article 5, on floodplain management regulations for the city and acceptance of the Federal Emergency Management Agency's updated flood insurance study for the city, county of Los Angeles and incorporated areas, including the city of San Fernando.
and do we have a second?
Seconded.
I agree. I second it.
Okay. Michelle, I think we need to do a roll call on this one.
Sure thing. Commissioner Gonzalez, it is your, you are moving to approve the Planning and Preservation Commission Resolution number 2021-001, recommending to the City Council adoption of ordinance number 1701, which amends the City of San Fernando's Municipal Code, Chapter 26, Article 5 of the floodplain management regulations for the city and acceptance of the Federal Emergency Management Agency's updated flood insurance study for the County of Los Angeles and incorporated areas, including the City of San Fernando. Is that your vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Montes, you second.
Yes, I approve it. Yes.
Commissioner Pacheco, your vote.
Yes.
Excuse me. Vice Chair Perez, your vote.
Yes, I approve.
And Chairperson Durham, your vote.
Yes.
Let the record reflect that that is a vote of 5-0 to approve Planning and Preservation Commission 2021-001. So Matt, do you want to go ahead and let us know when this is going to be moved forward to City Council, at least anticipated right now?
Yes, I think right now our plan would be to taking this, we need to conduct another public hearing with City Council. So our plan would be taking this to Council, I believe at the April 5th meeting, the first meeting of April.
All right.
Okay.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Okay, now we're down to, I would assume then, Tim, we're done to staff communication?
You have your opportunity for general commission comment.
All right, y'all. Time to speak up. or forever hold your peace like the minister says.
Talk to you
No
later.
comment.
I think we are out of talking. So I guess at that point, Tim, is there something for you from the staff, I should say?
Yes, just a couple quick announcements. The first one, the department actually interviewed candidates for planning interns, and happy to report that we're restarting that really valuable program, and we had some great candidates, and we're hoping to bring in multiple planning interns to have an opportunity to get on-the-job experience with our department, working very closely with Gerardo, our associate planner, and most likely you'll have an opportunity. They'll have the opportunity to sit in on future planning commission meetings. So look forward to that in the next coming months. Second item is just an update in regards to the RENA numbers and the final determination from SCAG, our regional planning agency. Over the last several months, we've had multiple conversations about and updates regarding those numbers. There was a final determination, and the SCAG Regional Council, so their governing body, late last week did take action to adopt and approve their methodology and the numbers for the allocations. So ultimately, City of San Fernando's number is 1,795 units for this sixth cycle coming up between year 2021 and 2029. That actually does represent a couple additional units that came out of the appeals process. And if you'll recall, the City of San Fernando submitted an appeal, had an appeal hearing, was denied. Ultimately, there were just a handful of appeals that did get sustained. The one major one reflected a change for that jurisdiction of almost 2,000 units, and those then were distributed throughout the rest of the jurisdictions, and so that resulted in the handful of additional units that City of San Fernando got, as well as really all the jurisdictions. The third note is I did send out a quick note earlier today to the commissioners, but I will just repeat that here, that tonight will be my last meeting being able to serve this commission as in my role as secretary. So I will, my last day with the City of San Fernando will be Thursday, March 18th. I want to thank each and every one of you for the opportunity, one, to get to know you all, to befriend all of you, to work on important and complex issues for this city, and to allow us to work together and do this important work that the Planning Commission does. Chair Durham, thank you for always being a reliable ear, and I want to thank all the commissioners for your years of service to this community. It's folks like you that are the reason why folks like me get into public service, because we have engaged members of the community that want to donate their time and make a difference. So it's been a privilege to serve with all of you, and thank you. I'm always a phone call away, so you all have my phone number. Don't hesitate, reach out. I'm always available to you. Thank you.
Too bad for you.
Thank you, Tim. We're gonna miss you, buddy.
Congratulations.
And before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I just want to say, Tim, I'm going to miss you a lot. When you came in right in the middle of our SP5 and jumped right in both feet. And we were working on things for like a year or so before you got here, and 2 more years after. It was just a giant fire drill. But we did a great job, and you've been an exceptional planner. And I'm going to miss you because you're easy to work with and easy to talk with. For me as a chairman, you've made my job real easy, and I appreciate that. So, yeah, before I start getting silly.
Thank you, Chair Durham. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate it.
And with that, if there be such a thing as requested an adjournment, I would have to take that motion.
No motion to adjourn.
I've been ready to go on. Okay, and the second,
I second.
all right, anybody that doesn't want to quit? Okay, then I say that the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
The meeting is now adjourned to the April 12th, 2021 date.
12, okay.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone.
Thank
Have
you,
a good night.
everyone. Good night.
Good evening,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Have a good night.